Hello and welcome to the Mystic Cast, where you join me, Jack Stafford, a student of metaphysics, as I talk to a variety of guests to better understand the teachings given by the masters through the Aetherius Society, the new cosmic religion for the Aquarian Age, incorporating all yogas, Christian mysticism, theosophy, UFOs, healing, and much, much more. Please note that this is an independent program not produced or fact-checked by the Aetherius Society. Today, my guest is Jeanette Wilson, a spirit medium and healer in Auckland in New Zealand. Hello, Jeanette.
Hello, Jack. Great to be with you.
And obviously a fellow English person.
Absolutely. Yes, I've not lost my accent.
How long have you been down there then?
27 years, 24 years now in New Zealand.
Wow. Not quite near Auckland, yeah?
Yeah, about half an hour living at the beach. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful part of the world.
Wow. So you don't regret.
Not miss the family. And at the moment, of course, we're not allowed to return to New Zealand. We can leave, but we just can't get back into the country.
Yeah, well, that's a whole healing story, isn't it? But
It is.
yeah. So you've checked out your website and your videos, hundreds of healing videos. I mean, it's
Hundreds.
incredible. Yeah. I came across you. Let me just explain how I found you, because I was interviewing a spirit doctor healer, Susan Gash, and she works with spirit doctors too. I guess a different team, obviously. And she's from America and she lives in Spain. And then I was looking on YouTube for other spirit doctors, and you were the only person that came up.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So maybe you could just tell me. So I'm fascinated by the subject, and maybe you could tell me how you came to work with these doctors.
Yeah, it's a long story. So I give the full story in my first book, Medium Rare. But basically what happened, I was a training manager for Lloyds Bank in the north of England. So I looked after all the branches from midway between Birmingham and Leeds, right the way up to Scotland.
That's not very spiritual.
No.
No.
2,200 staff, 6 direct reports. And
oh my God.
One day,
high up.
I was high up. One day out of the blue, I started seeing dead people, just completely out of the blue. It started with my grandfather. I saw him first, and my grandfather had got stuck in my body with me. So my granddad died when I was 6. And so from the age of 6 to 31, so for 25 years, granddad was with me in my body. So it was granddad's voice in my head, but I didn't know it wasn't me in my head. And so I went through a lot of my life thinking, say I was at school and I knew the answer to what the teacher was asking. I'd want to put my hand up, but a voice would say, "What if you got it wrong?" Even though I knew I'd got it right.
Well, we all have that. We are.
Yeah, we do. But how do you know it's not a spirit? And that was how it manifested for me. So at the age of 31, granddad, if you like, left my body. Grandma came through from spirit world for him and took him then back through into spirit world. I had about 24 hours with both of them in my body, which was really weird, but really lovely because I love both my grandparents.
Yeah, I love them too. I wouldn't have them in my body.
No, especially not when you're in the shower. That I write about that in the book. It was a sudden, I was in the shower in the morning. I suddenly realized, hang on a minute, grandma and granddad's here too. That wasn't any fun. I'd never had a shower quite so best in my life. But anyway, long story short, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. Like one of the things I did was I went to a college for psychic studies in London because I thought, oh look, they'll want to study me because
that's where I found Susan.
Phenomenon. Yeah,
that's where she was there.
Yeah, and a lovely lady gave me a cup of tea. Little old lady gave me a cup of tea, tapped me on the hand, and said, "You're nothing special. This happens to lots of people." So I didn't get a lot of support. So I had to get all my support from the spirits that were with me. And so what happened was, and yeah, I've never heard of this happening to anybody else, but 2 of my guides had met me physically. So not just in meditation, seeing a guide or sensing the presence, but they actually met me. And both times it was on the London Underground, which is like, it's like something out of Harry Potter. One of them told me why I was here. He said, "You're here as a healer and a teacher. Don't forget the ones that can't see. The ones that can't see will still feel the vibration." And back at the time, I was a bank manager. Didn't make any sense to me. Didn't understand it. And the second one later, he asked me if I accepted responsibility for what I'd come here to do. So been one hell of a journey. That was 28 years ago now. So I've had 28 years of, having my own experiences, meditation, working with different beings, different guides. A few years ago, I went over to, years ago, I went over to see Sai Baba in India. I was very drawn to Stephen Turoff. Stephen Turoff's in Danbury, and he's an amazing psychic surgeon. I believe he's the reincarnation of Sri Yukteswar, who was Yogananda's teacher.
He's reincarnated.
Yeah, for real.
I
Yeah.
thought he was ascended. He stayed ascended. I thought once
Sri
he.
Yukteswar? Sri Yukteswar?
I
Yeah.
thought he descended so he didn't have to reincarnate again.
Oh, it's worth checking out Stephen Turoff. I may have got the name wrong.
Okay, I'll check him out. No, I mean,
Stephen Turoff is the real deal. Brilliant. And a really good book, 7 Steps to Eternity, that really does describe, the different layers of the soul and how we transition.
7 Steps to Eternity.
7 Steps to Eternity. And so, having been led to Stephen Turoff, then I went to India to see Sai Baba. That was a good experience for me. Not everybody had good experiences, but I did. So, yeah, I was very impressed by my experiences with Sai Baba. And then more recently, I've been over to Brazil to see John of God. And the team I work with, there's different beings based on the needs of the person. So I don't decide who comes through. It's what the person needs, and then the appropriate guide will come through. Sometimes it's a shaman. That gets entertaining.
Oh, Susan said the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly Dr. Augusto, Dr. Oswaldo Cruz, who are spirit doctors that work with John of God as well.
So these are doctors on the other realms. You know their names.
Yeah. So these are spiritual beings that had a physical lifetime as a doctor and then moved into the spirit world, and they've been in spirit world for like at least 100 years. And they realized there was a better way that they could help us, because it is all about light and vibration and sound.
Wow.
And so a few years ago, they then started producing sound through me to heal people. And I even get feedback, like, the healing is not me. I don't know how to heal anybody. It's a higher power, and that higher power's energy gets stepped down through different spiritual beings.
Okay.
And there is a safety mechanism, which is, I'm never a trance medium. I'm always conscious.
Yeah.
And it's love. It's absolute love that you feel. So the healing's never draining. I can work for, 8 hours, 9 hours at a time. It doesn't take anything out of me, even though the actions can be very, very vigorous. And
because they're controlling your hands. They move.
They control my hands. They sometimes control the words. Everything comes through my awareness. I take full responsibility for everything I say, because I'm here as well. But I can feel like I don't have suddenly a deep voice, a man's voice, or anything like that. It's still me, but I can feel that the information is coming from a deeper level of awareness, that they like either anchor that within me so that I access a deeper level of awareness, or more commonly, they just plug in and talk through me.
Okay.
But I still sound like Jeanette, but the words are a lot wiser, but they're more profound.
Wow. That's a lot to unpack there, Jeanette. I mean, for you, it's but wow. So do you have to be in the room physically with the person, or can you do it remotely? Can the doctors go?
No, do it remotely. Doesn't matter. So I need to focus on the person to direct the energy, if you like. It's all about intent, and the spirit doctors can be with the person anywhere in the world. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, because for them, distance is no object. Yeah.
That's right. Distance is no object.
Okay. Wow. Have you heard of Harry Edwards?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. One of the all-time greats, and massive
The man,
following.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Absolutely. It's lots of different beings, lots of
I
different
think our
guides.
internet just went
Yeah, I think we had a little break there.
a little blip there. Yeah.
So lots of different beings, lots of different guides. When I was in the UK, there was a lot more, I would say, extraterrestrial beings working. And then while I've been in New Zealand, it's been all spirit world until the last 18 months or so. And then There's been an Arcturian and an Andromedan, and also a being called Hayoan who works with Barbara and Brennan also come through, but just once each. So I'm waiting to see how it unfolds. One of the things I've learned is that um, it works really at it unfolds in accordance with the highest good. So you can't make something happen. You can't, go on a retreat and want something specific to happen. It's going to unfold when the time is right, when you're right. You definitely need to meditate. You definitely need to clear emotional stuff, be aware of yourself, um, so that your emotional reactions don't contaminate. But other than that, we are instruments.
So this is advice for people who want to become a spirit medium.
Yeah, yeah. I would say if you want to become a spirit medium, chances are that is what you're supposed to do, as
Mm.
long as it's driven by your heart, not by your head. So you've got to ask yourself, well, why would I want to do that? I didn't want to be a spirit medium. I am a spirit medium, but I didn't want to become one. I was very happy being a bank manager. I loved my job. Um, and then when the healing unfolded, how can you not want to do that?
Wow, yeah, I
You know,
mean,
how can you not want to do that? And so that is my absolute love.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's an opening in the bank later in the future. I mean, you never know.
No, won't be going back.
Won't be going back now.
No, definitely not.
Okay, wow. I mean, so yeah. So do you, because Harry Edwards, I think he healed about 4 million people in his life. So people would write to him and he would do healing by letters as well for Zoom.
Yeah.
So, do you have an assistant? Can some other medium help you or it's just you?
It's you. I've had assistance in the past. At the moment, it's just me because in the lockdown scenario, usually I'm touring. And so you have somebody that schedules all your events, but there's no need for that at the moment. We're still in red. We're in Jacinda's traffic light system over here. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not even allowed to heal people at the moment because I haven't had the experimental you know what.
And I guess that answered my question. I was going to ask what your opinion of the COVID was and the vaccines, but
I can
okay.
tell you. Do you want to know? All right.
Okay.
So 27 years ago when I woke up, 28 years ago when I woke up, I was shown what was going to happen. And I was shown that we were going to have 90% loss of life on the earth. That was scary. And that my whole family die apart from me and my brother. So that's a huge thing to carry on your shoulders.
Mm.
My brother's in New Zealand. I'm in New Zealand. Um, yeah, things are unfolding. And for anybody that wants to find out what's happening, there is a lot of information out there. And I would say most of the things that get labeled conspiracies are actually true.
Mm.
There is a shadow government. We see that because we see governments around the world talking about, build back better. They're using the same language. They're all working off a script. Our government here has bought the media, 50 million. The media there has been no analysis. Doctors that speak out against it get silenced, get struck off. Um, there has been no debate about, the efficacy or the safety. And in the little area where I am, I know that there are 376 unexplained deaths that the police now need to investigate from the you know what. And the police haven't got the number of manpower to investigate them. And if that's just in this little area where I am, Lord knows what the figure is. So, yeah. So, yeah,
And
I believe,
you're in a unique position because you can see the traffic, between the realms. So
yeah, absolutely. And like this body, whatever we think, how humans have evolved, there is some kind of, higher intelligence that we are a part of and that we can have access to. We can open up the channels to have access to that. And that has created this system, this physical body, and it's got an immune system. If that intelligence can create something like the digestive system, vision, hearing, brain, it's also got an inbuilt immune system. So that's what I would put 100% place my trust in is the immune system
Mhm.
that's being generated by that higher power.
That's 90% in your lifetime.
Yeah. Now I think I think. So I don't know. I think from what I'm seeing that 90% isn't gonna happen. I think the plans to reduce us to that number have been thwarted.
That's the
But I
thing,
don't
because these predictions, they are, is there is, you can see into time, but you can also see into karma, and also in these things. Many people have had predictions about disasters, but I know from the Ethereal Society that there's many people working for the good. So
know it's huge numbers that
yeah,
like, one of the things that's very evident now is how many beings there are, really high level beings with us at the moment that are navigating us, and how much humanity is waking up right now. That really does inspire me.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And have you heard of the Ethereal Society before I mentioned it to you?
absolutely, yes. So when I used to travel and tour in the UK, and I absolutely love the pendulums that the Ethereal Society produce. They are the best pendulum on the planet. And they're made of, I forget what kind of wood it is now, but, they've got 23 coats of lacquer and they're perfectly balanced. So that's my strongest link with the Ethereal Society is their pendulums. And, if you like, the insights and the intelligence and the wisdom that is brought through the Ethereal Society.
And so, are you familiar with all the teachings in Dr. King?
I'm familiar with Dr. King and some of the teachings, but not all of them.
Okay, because he is the Mahabodhisattva for the Aquarian age. Jesus was for the Piscean age, and Dr. King, he came for the Aquarian age, and he gave the teachings. But he was also, um, he was like a Jedi, so he projected along with the six adepts to the lower astral realms and transmuted Satan. And he was in three. He was divided into consciousness was divided into three, and he cleaned out the leadership of the lower astral realms in the 1960s. So, did you have any?
Didn't know about that. No, no. Yeah.
So he is the adepts with. There's actually a branch in Auckland of the Ethereal Society.
Oh, wow. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
they will. I'm sure they do spiritual healing, but not obviously. When we practice it, we just send through the white lights for our own, but we're not up to your level of efficacy. So it'd be great if you could go along there and do some talks and
Yeah, yep,
speak.
I will have a look and have a look and see. At the moment, I'm working out of the Theosophical Society's rooms here in
Oh,
Arima.
oh
But yeah,
wow.
I'm not far from Auckland, 30 minutes. So yeah.
Okay. Gosh. Well. So yeah. Really feel like I found a deep source here. So it's fantastic. Just trying to think of more questions, but yeah. So yeah. What else can you tell me? I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge. So whatever you would like to talk about.
Oh, that's a good one.
What does
Um,
people need
I
to know?
um, I I absolutely believe that we all have access to source, whatever we perceive source to be. And we each need to find the methodology or the practices that help us feel closer to that source so that we can, intuit that wisdom, bring through whatever it is we need to bring through. Um, Very often I feel that we get drawn to those people that can help us, that there's like a connection. And then often what will come out of, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a spiritual teacher, it can be anybody. Um, but when there's the right connection, then the wisdom can come through one person for the other person. The other person can gauge its authenticity in their heart. And so I do believe that moving forward, it's very important that we as humans, we do get together physically. And one of the things that worries me at this time is when we are being kept isolated. As much as we can use technology to connect, it's not the same as bringing human beings together in a room. And, that was one of Jesus' teachings is, when two or more of you have gathered in my name, there's a power that can come through us. I reckon that we've all got to do a deep clean of beliefs that have been programmed into us about religion, spirituality, and what we perceive God to be. And if we can all be completely open on this journey, because that's what I've had to do. I've had to be, you think as soon as you think all learning stops. So even though you've had an experience and even though you weigh up that experience in the light of other experiences and your common sense and good judgment, sound judgment. You've then got to continue to be open-minded. So as soon as we think we know, and as soon as we think, look, here's my philosophy and this is how the world is, I can guarantee that's wrong.
Mm.
So it's more important that we keep ourselves moving on that journey and we keep asking ourselves questions like, what feels right for us? You know, did the way I spent my time today, did that feel good? Was that a day well spent, or could I be doing something else? Um, I think we're moving forward into a time, I can clearly see that we'll move forward into a time where we won't have money. And I believe that in other, if you like, in different places, in different realms, there isn't money. I think we could be one of the last places to have money, um, because as we move forward, we're all going to move forward into a place where we give of our gifts freely.
Okay.
And this earth is a bountiful, it's an abundant earth. And we could manage the earth's resources better to make sure everybody's got a roof over their heads, clean drinking water, plenty of food. It could all be managed so much differently. But it's how we transition to that now. That's what I'm watching with interest.
And do you remember the Lemurians and the Atlantis civilizations? Because they were more based on that model, apparently.
Yeah, I've had a Lemurian come in quite recently and do some healing through me, and that was quite interesting. I don't know much about Lemurian times. I like to have my own direct experience, and having had my direct experience and say talk with a Lemurian, then go check what other people have
Mhm.
perceived about that. When this Lemurian came through, he drew me what looked a bit like a rugby ball. If you can imagine the shape of a rugby ball, but it was either bronze or gold with bars. So probably 5 bars and then a gem set off center on one of those bars. And that was used to just move through the body of the person and taking away any negativity and trauma and grief and that kind of thing. And so as this being worked through me, my immediate reaction was, oh, I want one of them. I'm going to get somebody to make me one up. And the very calm response came back. You don't have to make it, just visualize it. So we've got a great power to visualize tools. So if we can visualize the Lemurian healing tools, we don't actually need to make them. We can actually visualize them and the power of intent. So say, for example, let me just give you an example that's just come into my mind is emerald. If we've ever seen emerald, we probably only saw a small piece of emerald. But somewhere deep within us, within our cellular memory, we remember how emerald feels. And so if we wanted to bring emerald healing energy into our body, we could do so. And as I'm talking, they're explaining to me that emerald is very good if there's ever any jealousy within the system. Emerald is a really good energy vibration that we can use. And so once we start understanding the power of our imagination, which is the one thing that isn't taught in schools, along with true science and true history of the earth, really, it's a diseducation service. Um, we're going to step into our power. And that's what, if you like, the controllers of this earth have been in fear of, that we would awaken and we'd come into our power and that they then couldn't control us. So at the moment, they are controlling us using money or using debt. We're all scared of, how do we keep a roof over our heads? How do we feed ourselves? Whereas if there wasn't money, if everything was provided for everybody free, there's only so much food we can eat. Come on. we can build better homes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I saw a photo recently of Glasgow. I can't remember which group it's on, but it's Glasgow back in 1900s. And it's all these beautiful old buildings. And then Glasgow today, which is all tower blocks. And it's hideous. It's like, we've gone backwards.
Yeah, and they decay after a few years, yeah.
Yeah, the old buildings had soul, and a lot of them are still standing, aren't they?
Yeah.
After hundreds of years, they're still there, and they've got a nice sound, acoustic quality to them.
Yeah. Dr. King said, or he channeled that imagination is man's only creative faculty.
Mm, yeah,
So
absolutely.
everything
Everything.
was in someone's mind before.
Yeah,
But what you're saying is you don't even have to go to the stage of making it physically. If you just imagine it,
you
it
can
has
imagine. It
power.
has power, test power.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny because I mean, I imagine
And-
things like the violet flame and white light, but I never thought of imagining physical things that I can use.
That's right. That's right. So, you know, we can all imagine how gold feels or how silver feels. So without needing the actual substance.
Right. Right.
Now, one of the most bizarre experiences I've had, and this has only happened in the last year, was,
This is saying something.
yeah, yeah, and I've had a great, I mean, I've written 4 books so far, and I've had a TV series on Sky and over here in New Zealand. Um, but one of the bizarrest things I had was, and there was something that triggered this. I woke up one morning, and as I looked at my body, I absolutely knew that this is a hologram, and my body's a hologram, and everything is a hologram. It's a light hologram, 100%. I'd stake my life on it, my kid's life on it. We're in a hologram. And part of my consciousness has come here to play, and I've come here to play with energy. Um, and it's like, I know that absolutely. And for about 2 hours, I was in that state where, you know, everything was a bit like in the movie The Matrix. You
I
know,
was just going to say the Matrix. Yeah.
just like, it's like that. Um, and I understood myself as a 13th dimensional being. And then my guides that I heal with are on the 7th dimension, and they're over on the right. And you sort of can't make this stuff up. That's just how it is. But why they should be on the 7th, why they should be on this side, I don't know. Why I'm 13th, I don't know. But I also believe what we could all be 13th dimensional beings. I don't believe there's any kind of superiority. I believe that one of the things that allowed me to open up was I'm very honest and I'm very outspoken. And if I know something is true, I'm going to tell the world. There's not a lot of fear in me. And that has its downside. I do have my critics, but they're few and far between, because usually, you know, there's enough videos, there's enough evidence, just let me some more. Whether I work as a medium, whether I work as a healer, there's enough evidence that, look, this is real. And so as much as it's quite a scary world at the moment when you see what governments are doing, we're also on this threshold of human evolution that's going to be a leap. And so we should be rejoicing at this time. I think it's good to see us all as that everybody that's physically incarnate is the holiest of holies. We're all divine beings. We're all children of God, or whatever we perceive that higher
That's what
power
the masters say. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And if we all treated each other like that, we'd have peace on earth.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. What's happened is we've sort of been led down this path or into this belief system that we have to do something, say something, worship a certain way, you know, not get married, not get sex, have sex, not drink or whatever, to experience the divine. No, it's bullshit. Any of us can experience the divine at any time. You know, and there's lots of different ways people experience it in nature. Some people experience it hang gliding. Some people experience it in meditation or holding a baby or, you know, playing with the grandkids. And we need more moments where we are still enough in our mind that we can experience the divine, because we certainly need to stop the chatter. That's the enemy, isn't the government. The enemy is the ego that we have created in response to early childhood experience, growing to school. The ego was created to keep us safe, and it's done a good job. We're still alive. But then we transcend the ego by bringing it into our awareness. We don't make the ego, you know, a devil or a demon, something to get rid of, but it is something we need to transcend. We need to understand how it operates and then rise to a level of consciousness where we can witness the patterns and then change the patterns for something more useful. So if you look at, you know, history in the past, you know, I had to travel to India to be with Sai Baba. I had to travel to Brazil to be with John of God. We now have such technology, we can access the true spiritual teachers. But I also believe a lot of the true spiritual teachers, we won't find them high profile because the powers that be have put forward fake gurus.
Yeah.
To lead us all down the wrong path. That's my take on it.
False flag operations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, just to unpack that. Yeah. So Dr. King, all the other planets are populated, and we are on this because we destroyed the planet Maldek, which is now the asteroid belt, and that's why we have such negative karma as humanity. That's why we've gone down and down, involved, because when we we chose free will over freedom within the law of karma. So according to the teachings of the Ethereal Society and the nine freedoms, is that we go, once we're on Earth, once we raise Kundalini in the hologram, then we go through enlightenment, cosmic consciousness, and ascension. Once we've ascended beings, then we can go to classrooms on other planets. So we go to Mars, Venus, and we work there at a much higher level of consciousness. And eventually
Yeah.
we merge on Saturn, and then we go to live on the sun. That's the ninth freedom. So, and then the beings like Jesus, who, because of law of karma, they can only come back here by incarnating here, as through the womb of a woman. That then they can manipulate karma, like Dr. King did, and Sri Krishna. Does that ring a bell with your teachings? Does that chime?
I don't know about much of what you said there. I don't know. But I'm happy to say I don't know. I do believe that we exist in other places simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's evidenced by, we all have dreams where our realities are slightly different. You know, it's sort of this life, but it's sort of not. And then I've also had dreams where I'm on different planets.
Mm.
I know in one of those dreams, I'm like the equivalent of a UN peacekeeper. If UN were really good, which of course they're not, but if they were good, if I was a UN peacekeeper on another planet, in that planet, you just observe. And that planet that I go to is still in what you'd call medieval times. And in that lifetime, I'm able to observe. And if I get myself into hot water, I just disappear.
Mm.
It just disappears. But I know I'm there as an observer. I'm not to interfere. I'm not to share any knowledge with them. That species has got to evolve. They've got to evolve their own consciousness. Now, that could just be a dream. That could just be my subconscious talking to me. Or it could be that is one of my forms. I suspect it is one of my forms.
Mm.
But it also helps me understand that here, you know, nobody's coming to save humanity. Don't expect to see alien ships in the sky, because we are here
karma,
to do,
not a lot possible.
no, we are here to do our own work.
Yeah.
You know, and some people do the work and some people don't. And the ones that don't will just reincarnate.
It's like if you did your kids' homework. If you did your kids' homework for them, they wouldn't.
Yeah,
what's the benefit?
What's the point? Exactly. Yeah. I do believe it's all good. I do believe it's all learning.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes seeing that. But yeah, if we don't see it that way, there is actually no point. Life makes no sense. If we don't think of, you know, the soul as being eternal, with learning that we take through to next lifetimes, the alternative view just makes no sense.
Yeah, that really chimes with that spiritual evolution idea, because in the Ethereal Society, we also believe that, so once you go past the ninth freedom, the sun, eventually all these individual consciousnesses like Jesus, Lord Babaji, Master Aetherius, even these great masters, in millions of years, when they're millions of lives more evolved, and millions of them merge together to form planets. And so the Mother Earth is an amalgamation of consciousness that we cannot even. So, the planets merge into suns, into galaxies, but even a galaxy cannot go back to God because it has not yet transmuted matter. So this gives me some, because sometime before, when I was, into Buddhism and spirituality, it's kind of like, I expect once I raise Kundalini, once I achieve Nirvana, I'm back to God, But now I realize that's like not just one turn of the wheel, and it's thousands of turns of this wheel to get back to the source. It's a long
time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it the Great Year or whatever it is? What it's called? Yeah. Is it the Great Year? 22,000 years.
Yeah, it's beyond, and time doesn't even. It's beyond time. So yeah, we're in this time is one of the limitations we've had put upon us because of our karma. So yeah, mind blown.
It is. It is. And yet we don't study this at school. And, where are the discussions at university? There's nothing. The really interesting stuff that could be debated isn't being, isn't.
Yeah. So your guides are on other realms. They're spirit, because some people say spirits and they understand it as spirits who are forever on the other realms. But those doctors are gone there. They'll come back here. They'll be born again. They'll go back there. They'll come back here and learning and learning and learning.
So instead of reincarnating, they've chosen to stay in that spirit world realm. Yeah. So in the main, I work with spirit world beings in the main.
But they will come. They all come back here as well. They go. They're born here.
Yeah.
They're born there. Yeah.
Yeah, they will. They will. But they're staying spirit world to help to just assist humanity through this time.
And do you remember any of your past lives?
Yes, not many of them. There's been occasions where I've had to recall a past lifetime because it was blocking me in this lifetime. So in one of my past lifetimes, I was very white-skinned and very thin, and I was like a seer, but I was kept in like a stone tomb, and people would come and they'd ask me questions, and I was kept in the dark, literally in the dark. I didn't see sunlight, very emaciated. But it was, that's how I was a prisoner, if you like, but my gifts were being used. And I had to heal that memory so that I wasn't scared of using my gifts this lifetime.
And do you remember where that was or when?
No, I don't even know. I don't even know if it was this planet or another planet. I don't know. If I put it into English history, it'll probably be like ancient Greece or somewhere like that, but I don't know for sure. Strong connections with certain places as I've traveled. Cyprus, a very strong connection there. Egypt, Israel, I've done quite a bit of traveling, and you'd certainly pick up even Hawaii. There was a really strong connection with some beings there called Kahuna. So I know part of my path has been to visit those places and almost like collect the energy. Uluru in Australia. When I look back, it's like, oh yeah, you've been to the main ones. I haven't been to Mount Shatsa, but most of the other spiritual centers on the planet, yeah, just happened to go as a tourist before I spiritually awoke.
Yeah, I guess so. It's amazing how, because obviously you're a seer in many lives before, but then we're all born limited, and so there's this kind of mini evolution we have to go through. So you have to be a bank manager, for example.
A bank manager to learn about money so that I understand, it's a deck of cards that's going to collapse.
Oh, of course. So it's not just a random thing that you affect. I didn't get that.
Yeah, yeah. I was 18 when somebody gave me some balance sheets of my own bank and said, they didn't tell me it was my bank, but they said, look at these balance sheets. Would you lend money to this company? And I said, no. And the teacher said, spot on, that's your bank. Your bank is insolvent. Because banks didn't have any assets of their own. They've got a workforce, they've got their premises, but their assets are your savings.
Yeah.
And if you take the savings out,
and that's why we all had homes before, and they had to invent the idea of mortgages so that they could earn some money, no?
Yeah. We used to build our own homes. We were debt free.
Yeah, yeah. It's all an illusion, yeah. Even without believing in a matrix or a hologram, even capitalism in of itself is an illusion. There's many layers of the Maya, yeah. So
yeah.
And so you're doing one-on-one healing. Are you also is there a bigger mission for you in this time around?
Yes and no.
Not to you're obviously doing incredible work. But
It's about opening minds and hearts to
right.
what is possible. So I know that if somebody is skeptical, say about spirit world's existence, or about, that we can heal ourselves, the only way to overcome skepticism is proof.
Mm-hmm.
So I consider myself, I'm the skeptic's medium and the skeptic's healer. And I video what I do to show that it's possible. And that sometimes creates a little chink in their thinking. But very often, the people that call themselves skeptical aren't truly skeptical. They are fixed-minded. That's not skepticism. Skepticism is healthy. Skepticism is an open mind. And so if I can create that little chink, that little, oh my gosh, what is it she's doing? How does she do that?
Mm-hmm.
Then that can open the doorway to other things. Without allowing myself to become perceived as part of a cult in any way. So I don't belong to any particular religion.
Yeah,
I've got my main teacher at the moment is a Buddhist chap, but I'm not a Buddhist. And to make the spiritual world not scary, so that people want to explore what is possible for them. And I do a daily meditation every day. I don't miss a day. It's a free meditation, and yeah, I've probably got at least through how many? We've got 300 days in a year, so yeah, I must have close to now 1,000 videos. I've been doing this for quite some time, where I do a free meditation every day, and people can actually learn how to meditate. And then what I recognise.
How do people access that?
Oh yeah, that's on Facebook, and it's called Sangha, Sangha, Sangha Online Community. Sangha's a Buddhist word meaning spiritual community, so it's that online community. And I set that up as we first went into lockdown the first time, so that's about 2 years ago now. And I've got a foolproof method of teaching people to meditate, quieten their mind. So even the busiest mind, I can quieten down. And then what I recognized was that lots of people know they need to meditate, but don't do it. And what your brain and what your ego likes is it likes to learn new stuff. So every morning it's about 45 minutes. There's like a 15-minute teaching of new stuff that you've probably never heard before, that'll open your mind up in some way. And then there's a 30-minute meditation.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. Yeah, because
Right.
I do struggle with meditation as well. I struggle with concentration because, I have such interesting thoughts, and like everybody, the radio in the mind doesn't turn, has a very big off switch. So I'm
That's
definitely
right.
joining. Yeah.
We've definitely got to find the space around the words. If you can find the space around the words, that's the doorway, that's the portal.
Space around the words.
Yep.
The gap between the words.
Gap between the words.
The pause. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So if you like the word, so we're in a world of form and formless. And so the ego is identified with the form. And then if we want to open up the spirituality, we need to pay attention to the formless. So the silence, the stillness, the spaciousness. And once you start doing that, meditation then becomes easy. And then you do need some kind of focus or intent in terms of who you're wanting to talk to and the kinds of information you're wanting to bring through.
And do your guides leave you alone when you meditate?
Mostly, but it depends what my agenda is. If I want an answer to something, it's very important to word the question appropriately. If you word the question appropriately, you'll get an answer. You might not get it in meditation, you might get it over the next 48 hours. But once we learn how to meditate and how to formulate the questions, we can start guiding ourselves. And then it really does pay to have a like-minded community, which is the reason for the Sangha, is like-minded people to come together, because you're all working within a range of frequencies. Because otherwise what happens if we've got a mass of people vibrating at, say, a certain resonance, and then you do a lot of spiritual work and you go really, really high, you can't sustain it because you're being pulled back to what's happening with humanity at the moment.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and a lot of fear is being generated, and a lot of confusion and uncertainty, and a division, trying to divide people. And so the more, if you're in a higher space, if you can link with other people that are also doing those practices, it just makes it easier for yourself. Otherwise, you'll never get very far. You just keep being pulled back.
I love the way you explain it. Not even on that you don't have the motivation or you don't have the concentration. It's that it's on like a physics energy based thing that you are actually
Energy,
Wow.
energy, and one of the things I do work with is frequencies, vibration, one-to-one at a distance to people, because it's all about our energy. It's all about the frequency that we're operating on.
Wow.
And the more we realize that, the more we get that. I mean, a typical example is, if you get into somebody's car and some music is playing and you don't like the music that's playing, it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's too loud, it's too blary, whatever. And the instinctive thing is you want to change channels. And so you want to get yourself with that group of people that are your channel. and then you'll blossom, you'll thrive. And then what usually happens is that works for a time. And then little by little, you're feeling it's not quite right anymore. You've outgrown them or something's not right. And then you need to go find the next.
So this is how I'm able to speak to you. This is how I found you through on YouTube because I'm ready for a little bit of my
For that
up my
next thing,
vibration.
that next thing. Yeah.
Right.
And to get your own answers, that's what, everybody needs to bring through their own answers. You don't want a teacher that you follow. You want a teacher that helps you become a teacher.
Yeah.
All right. So the true teachers don't have followers, because why would you? You create more teachers. That's the idea. Yeah. And everybody knows when something's right. You know when something resonates with you.
Yeah, I can hear you definitely resonating.
Yeah. And I'm not the right teacher for some people. Some people I just leave cold, and other people are like, they can't get enough of me.
Yeah.
But what happens is when I talk from a place within me, it activates a place within you. And so as I hold your awareness, you're also holding your awareness in that level of vibration.
Yeah.
And if it feels good, if it feels better than what you used to, then you'll want to spend more time with me. And it's going to be great when we're in a world where we don't have this thing called money, because it really has, it's buggered us up.
It's great because everyone says raise your vibrations. We have to purify ourselves and raise our vibrations. But you're just giving practical ways.
Practical things, yeah. Put some music on the radio that you like. That'll raise your vibration.
Don't read the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also what you said about asking the right questions, because I've also found that I read a good quote: "The computers are useless; they only give you answers." And it's all about formulating the right question. As I've come into I'm only 2 years into metaphysics, and like you, I was into completely other things, and now I ask the right questions, I'm getting much better answers. And usually when I ask those questions, when it's not about me, when it's how can I help other people, how can I be of service to other people, and phrase it in that way, then I also get a much better answer too, probably from my higher self or
Right. Exactly right. When we're focused on other people, then that comes through so much easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can also cheat, which is saying, now, what would be a better question to ask? So I actually say to my guys, now, what was the better question to ask, or what should I be asking you that I'm not asking you?
Better question. That's a good interview. That's a good question for everything. Yeah.
It is. And then I will also ask, what is it I most need to understand or know at this time? That's a good catch-all as well.
And is this something you learned from your Buddhist teacher then? A better way to...
No, just internally with my guides. My guides are very, very good at giving me answers. Yeah. And also they're very, very good at asking me questions. Sometimes they'll answer my question with another question. Yeah. Like, well, why do you want to know that? Or, so they make me go deeper.
And do you think when you pass on and you're on the other realm, you'll be doing their job and you'll be trying to communicate to someone like you?
Yeah, most likely, I think. Yeah. I like Earth. A lot of people I speak say, I can't wait to get off here. I don't want to come back here. But I quite like the Earth. I quite like human beings. And yeah, I'm very excited that the technology is giving us access to each other in a way we've never had before.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, spiritually, scientifically, everything, we should be going like this now.
Yeah.
And
there's this acceleration.
You think about how long the internet's been around. There hasn't been the sharing within the scientific community. Otherwise, we'd have discovered so much more if scientists were free to share.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So, yeah, there's things are not as they should be, but there are enough of us awake that it's not going to be a problem.
So maybe this whole COVID shebang is actually a good thing, because it really shows us how there is still this top-down influence, and everyone who says, "Oh, I believe in science, they're not getting the free science that they're actually asking for.
Yeah, like why can you not study magnetism at degree level? Why is that never happened? Because if a magnet continually, there's a force field, isn't there, around the magnet that's always there. So we should be studying that.
Oh, I need to take that one, think about that one more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask you for some more guests as well because there's so many more. You've said a few names. You've rattled off. I would love to have some more people who you recommend I could speak to. Maybe you could drop me an email about it, have a think, and
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, will do.
And also, just going back to Dr. King. I mean, he achieved samadhi in the 1950s in England on his own. So he had a
Wow.
full-time job.
Yeah,
He would full-time job, and he would do 8 hours of yoga. Pranayama, mantra, advanced mantra on his own. So that's when when a being like that comes in, they they can shoot out of the energy. They don't
uh,
get pulled down like. But that's just willpower. I mean, that's just
discipline.
yeah.
Absolute discipline. Yeah,
He would get visited by Shivananda. Shivananda projected form. This is before Zoom, before hologram.
yeah,
He could come.
yeah.
He walked through the closed door and came in and sat down in the chair, and it creaked. And he gave him lessons in advanced yoga, and made a hologram of London and in front of him, and taught him all the in Tibetan mudra yoga and all these things. And I mean, so yeah, incredible stuff. So inspiring.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God, well, I need to lie down. So I think when I ask myself at the end of the day, because I'm in England now, I'm in Italy. Sorry, it's 9 o'clock. So I've still got a long way to go through the day, but I've already justified today by speaking to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm definitely going to check out the Facebook group. And what is it? Your morning your time or evening your time?
It's just to 10 o'clock our time. So, for your listeners, there's a lot of things that I provide without charge because I believe that if we are going to transition to that world where there isn't money, then we need to actually give our services for free so that people can access them. So the daily meditation is free. I also have on Facebook, there's one called Explorations in Energy and Consciousness. And it's 10 1-hour sessions. It's an exploration of the energy body, the aura. We start with an overview of the 10 chakras. Then the next week, and you can do them, they're 1 hours. So originally it was 1 hour, once a week, and now the recordings are up there. The next week it is how to ground. A lot of people talk about grounding, but don't actually know how to do it. So we spend an hour teaching you how to ground. Then we go through each of the 7 chakras in the horror line. And then the final one, rounds it up back to all the 10 chakras in the auric field again. And that's entirely free. Explorations in Energy and Consciousness on Facebook. And that's run by a lovely lady called Anna Barker. She'd be a good person for you to interview as well. She's I'll let her explain what she's studied, but she's very knowledgeable.
Oh, intriguing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I hope you'll get a chance when I'm a bit more evolved. Then hopefully you can come back on the show, and I can have a lot more questions for you.
Cool. Nice meeting you, Jack.
No, it was a real pleasure. Thanks, Jeanette.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.